Today, we have chosen to speak on searching to sourcing. In the Vibgyor world, which I mean to say is the visible world, where people are engaged in different walks of life, in different professions, with different skills, talents, hobbies, and various types of interests. One day, unknowingly or knowingly, uh, see, someone is raising the hand. See, if anything has to be spoken, please use chat box instead of hand, because that would interrupt me, I think.
I think he has a
Somebody is raising the
question.
hand. Yeah, somebody raised a hand. Anything to say?
I'm unmuting Raja.
Okay.
Ande.
Hi, my name is Raja. So before starting the session, I have a few questions. Basically, I'm completely new to this genre. I never practiced any yoga or meditation or anything. Okay, before starting all these things, right? So I just want to know few answers from you. Basically, why should a human should do yoga or meditation? What is the reason?
You want me to speak right now, or you want me to say something about what I want to say and take your questions?
Okay, because if I know the answer, maybe I can better concentrate on our speeches, right? So, that's the reason I just asked you before. It's okay if it is comfortable in the end of the session.
Yeah. So what I would like to say is, I will take first 15 minutes of time to speak something of the present topic, and I will take the questions continuously. Right? That would be ideal.
Okay then. Okay. That's fine.
Great. Yeah. So people are engaged in different walks of life with various skills and talents, and one day they get a hunch, they get a gut feeling, they get a sense of inner being. There is some inner world which has to be explored. This type of understanding, every person in the world will experience. The reason is, apart from the physical body, the entity called mind is continuously chatting inside the head. And subconsciously, every human being knows that if the mind is silenced, if the mind is converged, if the mind is centripetalized, rather, that would turn into something called mind power. Every human being unknowingly agrees with this point. For this, one need not do any type of meditation or yoga or pranayama, anything. No effort, nothing. There's nothing spiritual about this. So when he starts working on himself, the way he understands himself means on his mind, not on a physical body here. Slowly, he will also experience the beauty of staying silent inside. Once he experiences the inner silence, it leads to the grand opening of spirituality. The doors of spirituality open when the mind is totally silenced. Till then, the world of spirituality doesn't open at all. He doesn't know a big world of spirituality that is lying inside. The world of spirituality is nothing but what we know already before we all came here into this physical world. The world of spirituality is pure discovery. There is nothing new about it. We come to a feeling that we already know everything. It's only a rediscovery, rather, to be more and more clear. So the rediscovery that there is a very big world inside, and all type of wisdom that is required in terms of one's consciousness, in terms of one's physical existence, in terms of having a purpose in this incarnation, in terms of where we have come from and what we are going to do here. All these things will be much clarified with the world of spirituality. So the search begins now. When he starts experiencing this world of spirituality, he wants to explore more and more. So once he starts exploring himself, he tries to also explore various types of people who are called as spiritual, whom he knows. He may be knowing some gods whom he has been praying, some people who go to church or temple or mosque, they may find from their priest or Maulana, other church pastor, the religious gurus. Few may encounter so-called spiritual books written by various great masters. Some may find the so-called spiritual people in their vicinity, maybe his old schoolmate, or maybe his neighbor, maybe some of the family members, or one of the colleagues in the company he is working. So various ways open up. He gets inspired. He gets a chance to peep into something unknown, something to be explored. So he starts his search. So when the search starts, and depending upon his seriousness, depending upon how sincere he is, it goes on and on. It may lead to meditation. It may not be also. Some people may find yoga to be very, very beautiful, excellent, with all asanas, pranayama, and all the Ashtanga Marga. Some people may find it very grateful with movements like Tai Chi, which is otherwise called as moving meditation. Some people are very, very happy with just reading books, only spiritual books. They won't meditate at all, and they become easy-chair intellectuals, commenting, criticizing everything that he encounters without trying to actually dwell into himself. So different types of people, depending upon their availability of knowledge, their temperament, their personality trait, they move in different directions. And what type of direction a human being chooses is completely idiosyncratic. Idiosyncratic means that is quite natural to him. So people feel few things as very easy and natural. What is easy and natural to one is not easy and natural to the other. So depending upon their likes and dislikes, people move in different directions. Whatever direction that a person takes in has got something to speak about. In the social reality, or the Vibjara world that I chose to speak, we have certain direction in terms of career, in terms of abundance, in terms of certain goals he has kept for himself in the outer world. Maybe he wants to earn a lot of money, he wants to become a millionaire, maybe he wants to construct so many houses, maybe he wants to travel around the world for his progeny. Different types of goals people have, all mix of so many things. It is always a cocktail of so many things. The journey in the social world, or the visible world, or the outer world, or the Vibjara world, or the visible world where we are living right now with feet on, the travel is moving around a circle, that gives a feeling that we are moving forward, but we are meeting the same point after some time, and we are going round and round and round the same old nucleus. It gives a great feeling that we are moving forward because we are really mobile, we are very really active. It is just like a bull, no, in the Indian villages, the way they extract oil from seeds, say groundnut seeds. The oil is extracted when the bull moves round and round the central point. As long as the ox moves round and round, the seeds get crushed and oil is extracted. And in front of the bull, some grass is kept. To catch the grass, the bull keeps on moving round and round. It gives a good feeling that bull is moving. It is moving to catch the grass. Similarly, most of the human beings move round and round around a certain focal point, certain central point, and feel that they are really moving, they are progressing. But the direction a person takes to explore the inner world is not movement of a bull round a focal point. It is a radial path. The direction is different. It is a journey towards nucleus, from where, which has become a central point of movement. Towards that, the journey starts, a different type of journey. This journey can be called as a spiritual journey. And in this journey, it is very difficult to understand the way we understand the outer world. To understand the outer world, it is a definable way. Everything is in a measurable way. Everything is crystal clear. But inward journey is adventurous journey, because there is really no one inside us to guide. All the guidance whatsoever is possible from another human being or through some books or anything, but in the form of only saying right now. But if you really take an inner journey, a radial path, a nuclear path, a journey within, once you become an indweller, there is no one to really guide. There are no milestones. In the linear journey, if you want to travel from Delhi to Hyderabad, say, there are so many points in between. You can easily calculate the distance, make a plan properly, where to have a night stay. Everything you have a certain plan. If you want to go to London or New York, you have a certain plan. You have to take a flight, book flight. Your journey is very clear. But if you take a radial journey, inner journey, it doesn't have a milestone. What is a milestone for someone is not a milestone for someone else. Because we are coming from many, many lives, we started our journey in this particular physical body at certain point. If A is not explored by a certain person who is at M, he will explore the A, which is supposed to be very, very basic, which is supposed to be very preliminary for many people. But he has not explored the very, very basics. For example, Ravana has explored XYZ, but he has not explored ABC, that is humanity, but he has not explored the basics. Many people who are into the path of meditation as a novice, they have explored ABC, but not XYZ. So what is a milestone for one is not a milestone for another. And this radial journey is called as unknown, the path of unknown, the path less traveled. And there are a lot of gravitational forces. There are a lot of resistance inside which pull you back towards the social reality, which makes you more and more denser. You don't feel inward, you don't feel subtle, you don't feel lighter. That which is common when you take a radial path. So this path moves towards the nucleus. This path is called as sourcing, is what I want to say. The search of the visible world ends into a radial journey or inner journey, and we get sourced to the nucleus, central point. That nucleus is called as consciousness. And when you are centered in your consciousness, the life altogether changes. A different life starts. When your consciousness levels are totally different, when your rate of vibration is totally different, your frequency level is totally different. You don't think the way you have been thinking all this life. You don't behave the way you have been behaving all this life. And all the goals and ambitions and desires that you have been carrying will change totally. And your definitions and descriptions of life will be totally different. This change, this transformation is called a spiritual transformation. And once a person is on the path of metamorphosis, this metamorphosis, a spiritual metamorphosis, moving towards the nucleus, and the rate of vibration becomes more and more and more subtle and fine, less denser, and you become a very fine human being. At a certain point of life, he may acquire something called as an absolute thoughtlessness, which is otherwise called as nirvana. Nirvana doesn't mean that he's absolutely thoughtless, he does nothing in the outer world. It is not like that. Whenever he wants to become absolutely silent, he becomes that in few minutes or few seconds or immediately, in no time. So the ability to become absolutely thoughtless, that ability can be called as nirvana. So once a person is said to have attained this nirvana or moksha or kaivalya or buddhahood, he takes up a journey in a very different way. For example, Gautama the Buddha said to have attained nirvana, so-called nirvana, at the age of 39. And after that, he started teaching. He wants people to take the same type of journey within and get transformed, because he knows the wonder of inner journey. Because he's a person who has explored the horizons of the outer world, because he was born into a beautiful kingdom as a beautiful king, married to a beautiful woman, bore a child, and experienced the lavishness and luxury a king can experience. He has explored the horizons of his, with the visible world. Now he has also explored the horizons of inner world. So because he has explored the two worlds to a certain great extent, he became more authentic. He became eligible to teach the same to so many people. And that's how the master in him turned into a teacher. Once you become a master teacher, you don't keep quiet. You keep on teaching people. That depends upon his interest, his caliber, and certain style. So what you do once you get enlightened is up to you. Some people may not teach at all. They won't travel. Some people who want to learn from these people, like Ramana Maharshi sitting in Tiruvannamalai, never traveled outside of Tiruvannamalai, used to attract so many people. So many disciples used to come and throng around Tiruvannamalai to learn from him. And he was never a teacher. He knows only Tamil, not even English. So his words, every word used to be interpreted, translated by his students. And he also taught in a different way. So once you become enlightened, teaching becomes totally different. The search of this outer world should be transformed into sourcing into yourself. You should be rooted in your own consciousness. So once you root into consciousness, as I told, the life totally changes. But how to stay rooted is the question. To stay rooted in your own consciousness, to stay centered in your own consciousness, it requires certain practice. You have to do something. That something is called as meditation. Meditation is only a tool and technique. It is not everything. It is a tool. Like, if I have to learn surgery, I have to go to medical college, sit with my teachers, learn how to handle a knife, how to handle different instruments, and familiarize myself with the various technology that is available and do a surgery. It requires certain time for me in a linear world. Similar in a spiritual world, in a different way, he may need a teacher. He may not also need a teacher because it is in a journey, but he has to train himself with certain methods. That methods are called as meditation methods. And there are so many types of meditation methods available. Every method is right. There is nothing like wrong method in the world. Every method is a right method. People always quarrel with the rightness of their own methods, which is said to be very much immature. A mature person will not fight for methods of meditation. He will not argue for the methods of meditation. Instead, he goes within and experience this meditative consciousness. Meditative consciousness has to be experienced. And all the knowledge of spirituality is not a conceptual understanding. It is not a linear understanding. the knowledge of spirituality is a pure experiential wisdom. Without experiencing anything, you are never called as spiritual. It is a 24-karat experiential knowledge. No intellectual understanding holds true in this inner world of sourcing. And in the present world, in the outer world, what we can say, people are centered in different levels of psyche. For example, there are people who are centered in their thoughts. People who are centered in their thoughts, they think more and more. The way they solve problems is they sit and think and rethink till they arrive at a solution. This is the way, because they're centered in their thoughts. They're more psychological in nature. There are some people who are centered in their emotions. When a certain problem comes, they may weep, they may be excited, they may get depressed, and slowly they find themselves. That is what is meant by centeredness in one's emotions. But the spiritual people are those people who are centered in consciousness. To be centered in consciousness means there are no thoughts, and thought is not the way to arrive at a solution. They are not centered in even emotions, and emotions are not the ways to understand something. But here, when you're rooted in your consciousness, knowing happens without actual thinking. Knowing happens without actual feeling. It has a mysterious and a mystical way of revealing itself to you, revealing the truth unto you. It is very interesting phenomena, knowing without thinking. And knowing without thinking is called as the spiritual wisdom. Spiritual wisdom happens never with thinking, but we know everything. That is what is called spiritual wisdom. So spiritual wisdom is possible when you are centered in your consciousness. When the consciousness gets converged, when the consciousness gets internalized, or to speak in Indian language, when we become antharmukha, when we become internalized, we get rooted, we become the nucleus. We don't go round and round and round like a bull. Instead, we stay centered, we stay connected with ourselves. We don't move at all, we become immobile. When you become immobile in yourself, completely strong, silent, a centered, stable consciousness is called as Sthita Pragnata. And the person who has mastered this is called as a master, a gnani. Sthita Pragnudu. In Telugu, we call Sthita Pragnudu. So, or in Hindi, we call Sthita Pragna. So, the ultimate purpose of the human beings is to become a Sthita Pragna. The ultimate purpose of human being is to make his consciousness much stable and much connected.